Okay. So Excel is an application where we can store the data in the form of rows and columns. So what do you mean by rows and what do you mean by columns? Anybody? So columns are represented from left to right in alphabetical order, guys. That means if you consider here A, right? If you consider here A, okay. Let me take a new sheet first. So if you see, this is how an Excel workbook looks when you open an Excel workbook. Okay. So here you need to understand about what is the column and then what is the row first, right? And then we will understand about the components of an Excel. Clear? So here A, B, C. So all those components are there from the left to right, right? So basically the columns are represented in the manner of left to right, right? Wherein the rows are represented in the manner of from top to bottom. That means if you consider here A, suppose here I am writing as employee ID, right? And then I am keeping it. So what it is doing? So it is storing the value that I am entering into that cell. Okay, correct. So this is what the column is. So if suppose if I write here as 1 or if I write here as 2 or if I write here as 3, so all those values are being called as rows. Okay, why? Because these values are being represented from top to bottom. As the values are being represented from top to bottom, they are called as rows. Whatever the values represented from left to right. Suppose here if I write employee name, right? If I write here as employee name, so that will be called as column, right? So you have understood about row and you have understood about column. So you need to understand about a cell. Okay, a cell is a combination of a column and row, guys. Okay, a cell is a combination of a column and row. So what do you mean by cell? So suppose let's say if I have to figure out this cell G4, G4, that means it is this cell, whatever it has been selected is represented by the G, which stands for the column, correct? And the value 4, which stands for the row. So this particular value cell has been referenced by the combination of a column and row. Suppose let's say if I here, suppose if I write G8, what does it do? As because we are referencing the column G and the row 8, what happens is it refers to the G8 cell. See, I am clicking on enter, it changes to G8. Is it getting changed? Right? Guys, is it getting changed? Following up with me? Right? Okay. So this is what an Excel, guys. So in Excel, basically we store the data in the form of rows and columns we discussed, and then we discussed about what is a column, and then we discussed about what is a row, and then we discussed about what is a cell. What is a cell, right? So this was this part we discussed, and then we discussed that we can insert some data and store the data in an Excel. Okay, so here there are some different tabs here, right? Sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, there are different sheets available. So in an Excel workbook there can be multiple sheets where a sheet includes the columns and rows, and there are different sheets include together called a workbook. So if you see here, it is called as a book 1 because we haven't saved that particular book. That means a workbook, it is showing it as book 1. But when you save it, it will be saved with the name that you defined, right? Here also, okay. So here also you can change the name of the sheet, guys. It's not audible. Guys, it is not audible?
Audible, audible.
Audible, right. Okay, so here we can change the name of the sheets also, guys. So suppose let's say if I want to change with employee details, okay, I want to change it to employee details. So I am doing this, right? So similarly, I can change for the sheet 2 also. Similarly, I can change it for the sheet 3 also. Similarly, I can change it for the sheet 4 also. So these things, as everyone knows, I am just rewinding for everyone, guys. So let us move on to the original topics. Okay. So let us discuss this. So basic, basic is, so once you have entered into the Excel, right? The basic functionalities that you need to understand is sorting and filtering. Okay, the basic functionalities that you need to understand is sorting and filtering. What do you mean by sorting? Anybody? What do you mean by sorting?
Sorting means getting that particular data means sort of data.
Right. So let me explain.
Starting,
Right. Okay. So let me explain, guys. Sorting means, suppose let's say you are having some data in the format of 5, 3, and 2, or let's say 1. Okay. Sorting means keeping the data in a particular order. Keeping the data in a particular order. The order may be in an ascending format or the order may be in a descending format. What do you mean by ascending format?
high, lowest to highest.
Yes. The ascending means the lowest to highest, whereas the descending stands for the highest to lowest. Right. So sorting is based on two types. That is basic sorting. Basic sorting is based on two types. One is either we can sort the data in the form of ascending order or we can sort the data in the form of descending order. Clear? So let us start about working on the sorting, guys. So let's see. Here there are some data. Right? Here if you see, we have agent, we have date listed, we have area, we have a list price, we have bedrooms, baths, square feet, type, pool, and sold. We are having some different columns altogether available in the sheet. Correct. And we are having associated data with respect to each column. So now here the requirement is to sort the data in newest to oldest order of date listed. What do you mean by this, guys? What do you mean by this?
Latest this comes first.
No. I mean to say, what is the question? Did you understand the question?
Could you please ask once again? I
Yeah,
was
sorting the data in newest to oldest order of date listed. It is mentioned in here also in the queue. You can see that, right? So sorting the data in the newest to oldest order of date listed.
so the dates which are in the date listed, which should be sorted in the, I mean, the latest date should be in the first and oldest date should be in the last.
Correct. That means we need to first pick up. First, we need to see when you are going for a sorting. In the question, you need to see what is the column that they are mentioning. What is the column that they are mentioning? Date, right? So that means we need to go to this particular column. Agree? Agree, everyone?
Yes.
So after that, right? Okay. You need to see what is the format that they are asking for. For that particular column, they are asking either to sort it in an ascending order or they are asking to sort in the descending order. So what is the ask here? They are asking from descending order. Why it is descending? Newest always comes in the descending, right? And then the oldest always comes in the ascending. So here, if you have to sort this particular column, select or put a cursor on this particular, select this particular row, go to the home tab, right? Here we have something called sort. Agree? Here we have something called sort. Now, in which format we need to sort the data? Descending order. I am just clicking on this. So what happened? The data has been sorted in the descending format. That means whatever the data that has the highest date, right, that has come first, and then if you see, if you go down, you'll be seeing the oldest dates. Agree? See, it is the oldest date altogether. That means the data has been sorted correctly on the basis of the descending order for the column date. Agree on this, guys? Everybody?
Yes.
Everybody, guys? Everybody understood? Are you following up?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So now let us move on to the next question and see what is the sorting we can do. Right? So here what is the question? So sort the data in the ascending order of area and descending order of agent name. That means here they are asking to sort the data on the basis of two columns. In the first question, what we have seen? We have seen only to sort the data on one column, correct? So here what is the question? Here the question is to sort the data on the basis of two columns. And what are the two columns? One is area and second one is agent name. Agent name, right? So what are the two columns that we need to look into? What are the two columns that we need to look into for the sorting? One
Agent
is
and
area, second one
square
is
feet.
agent. Agree on this, guys? Okay, so we understood what are the columns that we need to sort. But how can we sort the two columns, right? So how can we sort is go to the sorting, go to the custom sort. Okay, go to the custom sort. Here you can select what is the column that you need to, you can select. So go to sort, custom sort, sort by. Here what is the first one? By the area. Area should be in the ascending format, correct? So smallest to largest, agree? And then what is the next one? Agent. So I am selecting the agent, and then this one should be from Z to A, that means highest to lowest. So for that what we have done, when you have to go for a multiple column sorting, right, when you have to go for a multiple column sorting, then in that case the Excel is providing you a concept called a custom sort, where you can open that particular functionality, and then you can sort by the area first and then by the column agent. So where area is being sorted from lowest to highest, and then after the data has been sorted on the basis of area from lowest to highest, and then agent names will be sorted on the basis of descending order, that means highest to lowest. Is this clear, guys? Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm just clicking on OK, right? So now if you see guys, here what is Shasta? That is the name we are having, right? So here when we are putting a sorting on names, that means on the alphabetical data, what is being happening? Whatever the data that is near to the Z value to A will be coming out. If you see here, Sasta is the name that is having the highest precedence because that is the descending order. We have selected the descending order, correct? And then what you have done, Romero. Romero is next to the Sastra, right? That is the next highest. And then if you see here, next is P, correct? So that is the reason why it has selected on the Peterson. If you see next, it has selected on the L, and next K, J, H, and last it will go to this one. Understand this point? Okay. So is this clear, guys? Everybody? Okay. Voice not audible, sir. Guys, is it audible or not?
Audible,
Pratyush, is it audible now?
audible.
Somebody is facing issue. Okay, it's audible. Cool. So let's move on to the next question, guys. Now in the sorting, now in the Excel, now we are able to understand that we can sort the data on the basis of a one column, right? And then we can sort on the basis of two columns, and we can sort the data on one column in one format, that means in ascending format also, and then we can select the second column altogether and then take the other starting point also, correct? So we have understood these points. Now let us see the next question. What is the question here? Sort the data according to the following order of area. That means here they are not asking to select only on a particular column, but also they are asking to sort the data on the basis of the values. That means first the values whatever is there with the s dot county should come first, and then followed by the central, and then followed by the county. Correct. I am again repeating. Here they are not asking only to sort the data on the basis of area, but also on the basis of area they are asking to sort it on the basis of first value should be s dot county. That means, so in the area whatever the values that are associated with the s dot county should come first, and then after all the values has been sorted on the basis of s dot county, followed by central should come first, and then followed by n dot county should come first. That is how the values has to be sorted. Understand? So now how can we deal with this? How we can deal with this here? Sort, go to sort, okay, go to custom sort, and then anybody? So
Sort by.
area.
sort by area. Okay.
Area.
Values. We should select
No, right.
values.
We need to sort on the basis of values, not on the basis of order. Here, if in the case, if you need to sort, guys, am I audible now?
Yes, it is audible.
Okay. So now tell me, guys, now when you need to sort the data on the basis of column, on the basis of values, right? So what you need to do? So you need to order it by the custom list. Okay. So here, if you see, when you are clicking on the custom list, right? So here we can provide the values. So what can be done? So s dot county is the first one, and then followed by central, correct, and then followed by n dot county, and then I am just adding it to this list, and then I am selecting this, and I am clicking on OK. Now if you see, what is the order? The order is sort on the basis of s dot county first, and then followed by central, and then followed by n dot county, correct? Now I am just clicking on OK. Now let's see. Now let's see. The data has been sorted on the basis of s dot county first, and then followed by central, and then followed by n dot county, correct? So now we have understood about these things. So now let us move on to the next one. So here, guys, we have understood about sorting, right? So let us discuss about the points we discussed on sorting. That means sorting either we can do on the basis of columns, or on the basis of values present in the column, or we can sort the data on the basis of multiple columns on multiple orders, either by ascending order or either by descending order, right? The sorting that we can do in Excel, guys. Okay. So now let us discuss about filtering. So basic filtering is what we can do, right? So here we have something called filter, right? So I am just removing this. How the data looks. Okay, this is how the data looks first. Now, if you have to just filter on the columns, so click on this. Now, a particular filter has been applied to the columns, right? Suppose what are all the agents that are present inside the able to see. Agree on this? Now, if you have listed, so whatever the dates that are present in this particular column, you will be able to see the columns, right? So let's go with a simple question. Find all the houses in central area. So how can you do? So we need to go to the area column, and then first you need to deselect this select all, and then select on the central, click on OK. Now what happened? Whatever the area that is there, that means with the central region, all those values has been filtered out. Agree, guys? So anybody is having any doubt on this? Guys, anybody is having any doubt? Clear, right? Let us move on. Let's make it somewhat complicated. Okay. So here see the question. Find the list of houses in central region with pool and S dot county without pool. How can you do this? Tell me. So I'm again repeating the question. Find the list of all the houses in the central region with pool and S dot county without pool. So this you cannot do with the help of basic filtering. Agree? This you cannot perform with the help of basic filtering. Agree? Why it is? Tell me. Because if you select here, if I am just putting a filter on the area, right? So in the area, I am selecting central region for suppose. Let's say I am selecting the central, and then the central region with pool we should have, and then S dot county without pool we should have. Correct. So here I am in the pool. There are two things. One is false and true. What with the central? What the pool with the two value we should correct. So this we can apply with the help of advanced filtering, guys. Okay, with the help of advanced filtering. So how can we do this? Anybody has any idea? Okay, so let me explain, guys. When you have to perform these kind of questions, which are complicated, right? Where there are multiple filters applied, then in that case, you need to go with the advanced filtering. So in this case, what you need to do is, so here you need to, whatever the columns that are present here, okay. So you need to create a similar columns. That means you need to just copy and paste it here into the separate location. And so here it is central region. So central region is in which location? Area, correct? So I'm just providing as central. So central with pool, true, correct? Central with pool, true, and then S dot county with pool, false, correct? So this part we have agreed, right? Now guys, I'm again telling you whatever the data, source data we are having, we will keep it as it is, and then we will just drag whatever the required filter data into some other location. Okay. So now what we can do is go to this data part. Okay. In the data, okay. So here we have some called advanced filter, right? So you just click on that advanced filter. Here a particular, okay, will be open. Here if you see filter the list in place. In place means whatever the condition you apply, it will be applied to the source location. Okay. So now we have something called copy to another location. Copy to another location means whatever the filtered data you are getting, that means the result you are getting, it will be copied to the other location, guys. Okay. So that is the difference between these two things. Now what is the list range here? List range is this one. That means sheet 5. This is sheet 5. Sheet 5 from the location A1 to J126. That means J126 till the last 126. Agree? That means whole list has been selected. You can see it has been selected, right? It has been marked with green, right? And then criteria range. You need to understand this, guys. So when I am selecting on the criteria range, it is being selected. See? So what is the criteria range? That means based on the criteria range and based on the list range that you have provided, it will be copied to the this location. Which what is the location? What is the location? Agent, date listed, area, whatever the columns that you need to get the output, we have provided those columns. And then when I just click on OK, the data has been come from the source location into the filtered location based on the criteria. Now if I just put a filter on this area, okay. Now if I put a filter on this area, what happens is, see here. So I'm just putting a filter. Okay. Now I am selecting. Now see, only central is there, S dot county is there. Satisfied? So when I am selecting only central, I am selecting only central. For all those values, the pool is being true. That means with pool. Correct? So I am selecting area with S dot county. S dot county. Now all the values are being without pool. Now is this satisfied? Is the question satisfied, guys? What is
Yes.
the question? Find the list of all the houses in the central region with pool and S dot county without pool. That means the question has been satisfied with the help of advanced filtering, guys. Everybody agree? Guys, everybody agree? Are you following up? Or should I need to repeat it once, guys? Tell me.
Can you please repeat once again, sir?
Sure. Okay. So here what is the question is, suppose let's say how to find out only the central region. So whatever the data that are associated with the central region, you can just do that. How? Oh no.
Guys, am I audible?
Yes.
Audible, right? Okay. So
Yes,
see,
audible.
so here, what is the question? We need to find the list of houses in central region. Antena? So if that is the only question, we would have done it with the help of area. So going to area, selecting the filter only on the central. But what is the question here? The question is to filter where the value should be with the central and pool equal to true. And then S dot county with pool equal to false. That we cannot do with the help of basic filtering. Agree on this? Why? Because you can select area, central. Okay, I'm just doing it again. Central and S down T I have selected. Okay, and now what I have selected, both are selected. Okay, now I'm just putting a filter on the central. When you do this, what happens? Either the value true also comes, the value false also comes into the result, right? So we should remove the values with the pool equal to false. And for the S dot county, we need to remove the values where the pool equal to true. So in this case, what you can do, so whatever the columns we are having it, right, you can just copy like this and then just Control C and paste it somewhere into the location, okay, into the Excel location. So that is what the criteria range. This is what the criteria range, guys, okay. And then now I just copied it to the this location. That means I want the result to be placed into some other location, right? So what is the location that you want to provide? That means, suppose let's say if I have to select all the columns from this data, that means I will select all the columns: agent, date listed, area of list price, bedrooms, baths, square feet, type, pool, and sold. All those columns I will place it into the separate list, and then I go to data, and then here I go to the advanced filter, and then copy to another location. So what I will do, I will just remove this again. So it has been removed, right? So now what I will do, okay, now I have to place this data here. Now I just want to place the data here. What I will do, I want to select all these columns. So I am just copying and pasting it here. Okay, pasting it here, guys. Now I am going to data. I am going to the advanced editor. So list in place. So what is the list range here? Now I will do. So what is the list range here, guys? This is the list range. See, this is the list range, correct? And what is the criteria range? Tell me, what is the criteria range here? This is the criteria range. And then here, copy to. Here, let us copy to this location. Let us copy to this location. Okay. Now, I am clicking on OK. Now, what should happen? Based on the criteria, the value should be filtered, and those values should be placed into the some other location. Clear? Now I am clicking on OK. Now what happens? See, the data has come. Correct? Okay. So now let us move on to the next question. Okay. So if you see, guys, what is the question here? The agents with a house. The agents with a house in N dot county area. That means the area should be N dot county, having 2 bedrooms. That means one criteria is the area should be N dot county. Second criteria should be it should have 2 bedrooms. And then third criteria should be only single type family. So whatever the data that are associated with these 3 filters should be coming into some other location. Correct. So in those cases also, we again go with the criteria. Here area should be N dot county. Correct. And then bedrooms. Here see, here there are bedrooms, 2 are there. Bedrooms 3 are there, right? 4, 5 something is there, right? So out of those, we need to select only bedrooms 2 for the region N dot county and with type single family. Whatever the filters that are satisfying with these 3 criteria only should be coming into the output. Agree? So how can you do this? So N dot county I have given. So bedrooms I have given as 2 and type as single family. Satisfied? All those AND operations, only these 3 matches, only then the data will be coming into the location. Here also, if you see, guys, here I am not selecting all the columns. Here I am selecting only some subset of columns. Correct. So now, if you have to get it again, go to the auto filter, go to advanced editor. So copy to another location, right? So this is the list range. Okay, list range is not defined correctly. So this is the list range. And then what is the criteria range? Criteria range is defined correctly, correct. And then copy to. This is the copy selection. From M7 to Q7, whatever the columns we have, for those columns only we need to get those data, correct? So I am just clicking on OK. Now see what happened. Only the agent Randolph has come, and then area N dot county. The bedrooms he is having is 2, and the type is single family. And what is the price? 4 lakh, sorry. 4,05,000, correct? So now see here, guys, this is the data. Other than this data, okay, Randolph, this is the data, I think so. So other than this data, no data is being matched with those conditions. Agree, guys? If you see here, Randolph only N dot county is there, bedrooms is being 2, and the type is being single family. So other than that, no data is being matched. Agree on this? So this is also comes under advanced filtering, guys. Okay, this also comes under advanced filtering. So everybody understand this? Are anybody having any doubts?
So this is the least price of last price.
Sorry. List
Last
price.
price is the yes, yeah.
Okay, guys. So let's move on to the next question. Here, what is the question? So display all the houses where list price was between some value, right? 45 lakhs to 60 lakhs, right? So where this criteria is being matched, so for all those criteria, the data should be coming into the other location. If you see here, the both filters was on same column. Which column it is? List price. Correct? The both filters are on the same column and the column name is list price. So when in those cases, you need to, in the criteria selection, you need to place the column twice. Okay, here that is the reason why list price has been present 2 times. Understand? So when the criteria that you want to, filter, if there is a filter, you need to, if there is a greater than or less than scenarios, wherein you need to place the filter on the same column twice. So in those cases, the criteria range should be selected in the column twice. Clear? So here I have selected a range and here I have selected a range greater than 1 lakh and less than 3 lakh. So whatever the data we have, all those data will be filtered. Okay. So let me change it to 1 lakh and 3 lakhs because I think we do not have data. Right. So now again, I'm going to data. I'm again going to data, going to advanced filter and then list range. What is the list range, guys? List range is not this, right? So how can you select? You can just put a cursor on this, Control Shift, side arrow and then down arrow. Correct? And then criteria range. Let's see if the criteria range is correct or not. Criteria range is correct. It has been selected. Now we need to copy this to this location. It is also being selected. I'm just clicking on OK. So the data will be pasted here for this criteria. Now if you see here, where the price is between 1 lakh and 3 lakh, right? If you see the price, no value will be shown other than 3 lakhs. See, do you see anything other than 3 lakhs or less than 1 lakh? No, you will not see anything. Correct. So that is how you can perform advanced filtering. Okay. So now we are going to end of advanced filtering question. Okay. So what is the question here? Find all the houses in N-Dot county area with list price greater than 3 lakhs and having 3 or 4 bedrooms. See here. So what is the question? First is N-Dot county area, list price 3 lakhs and either he can have 3 bedrooms or they can have 4 bedrooms. Whatever the data that is present with N-Dot county, list price 3 lakhs and bedrooms 3 or 4. All those data should be coming into the result. This is much more complicated, is it? Okay. So in those cases, when there is a concept of OR, right? What is the concept of OR? OR condition is coming for the bedrooms. OR condition is coming for the bedrooms. And what is the condition? Either it is 3 or either it is 4. So in those cases, you need to. Okay, it is both N-Dot county only, right? Okay. Now, in those cases, here this stands for N-Dot county greater than 3 lakhs and bedrooms equal to 3. And when you write the condition in the next row, that will be called as R. When you are writing the conditions on the same row, that will be called as AND. Why it is called as AND? Because area N-Dot county and list price 3 lakhs and bedrooms equal to 3 or N-Dot county list price equal to greater than 3 lakhs and bedrooms equal to 4. That means when you are writing the conditions, when you are writing the conditions on the same row, that will be called as AND conditions. When you are writing the conditions to the below row or to the next row, that will be called as OR conditions. Is this clear? So now what happens? Now again, similar way, go to filters, advanced filter, list range. We changed. This is the list range. And then criteria range is this. Correct. And then we want to copy to another location, that is this location. Correct. I am clicking on OK. Now see, the data has come where the area is only Andhra County. So for the Andhra County, bedrooms equal to 3 or bedrooms equal to 4 and list price greater than 3 lakhs. See, the list price is always greater than 3 lakhs. That means all the criteria has been satisfied. For the bedrooms equal to 4 or the bedrooms equal to 3, right? So by now we have completed the concept of sorting, advanced sorting, filtering, advanced filtering. Is this clear, guys? Everybody?
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
సార్ ఖచ్చితంగా మనం క్రైటీరియాని ఖచ్చితంగా మనం అక్కడ మెన్షన్ చేయాలి కదా సార్ మనకి ఏదైతే కావాలో దానికి.
Compulsory. When you go for advanced filtering, criteria should be compulsory be there.
సార్ ఇఫ్ ఇన్ కేస్ క్రైటీరియా అనేది మిస్ అయితే ఖచ్చితంగా మనకి ఆర్డర్ అనేది కూడా మనకి మిస్ మ్యాచ్ అవుతుంది కదా.
అవును, అసలు డేటా అనేది రాదు. క్రైటీరియా రేంజ్
Yes.
లేకుండా అసలు మీరు ఇక్కడ చూడండి, ఇక్కడ మీకు ఆప్షన్ చూస్తే ఇట్ ఈస్ మ్యాండేటరీ ఫిల్టర్. క్రైటీరియా రేంజ్ ఇస్ మ్యాండేటరీ. కరెక్ట్.
Yes,
When
sir.
you don't provide any criteria, you cannot filter any data. That is the criteria range, right? Criteria range is nothing but a filters, combination of
Yes, sir.
filters, right? Okay. Okay. So everybody understand this, right? Okay. So let me just take 2 minutes of breaks, guys. I'll just have a drink water. Okay, guys. So now let us go to the next topic, right? So now let us jump into functions. Okay. So now we have understood about sorting. We have understood about filtering. Now let us jump into functions, right? What do you mean by function? Anybody has any idea? Function. Okay, I'll just give you some example, real-time example, and based on that, tell me what it is. Okay. Suppose, let's say if you are using WhatsApp. Okay, if you are using WhatsApp, you need to send a message to the person. You have just typed something. So what you will do? No. You have just typed the message and then you want to send a message to some person. So what is the next thing that you are going to do? You will just click on some button, send button. You will send. And then what happens? The message will be sent to the receiver. That means what is being happened? That means you are just pressing a button. That means you are telling the WhatsApp to do a functionality of sending a message to the receiver by clicking the send button. That means the send button is a function which is taking your input, that which is nothing but your message. The send button is taking your input message and then sending it to the receiver. That means you are giving some input. That you are giving some input to the send button. Just send this message to this particular person and then it is sending it, right? Now tell me, what do you mean by function?
One particular thing will be calculated or any other.
Correct. That means the calculations or the output being performed based on the input being provided. Correct. Based on the input being provided, the output, the reaction will be. Suppose let's say, mere WhatsApp send message is completed. Right now, if you have to just come out from his chart, what you do? You just click on the back button. So when you're clicking on the back button, what is the functionality of that button? The button functionality is to bring back to the original page. Bring back you to the original page. If you just click on the send button, will it bring back to the previous page? No, right? That means every functionality has its own individuality. Agree? Every functionality has its own individuality. And when we are clicking on send button, only the send message will be sent, not being coming to the original page. When we are clicking on the back button, you will just come to the back page only. The message cannot be sent, right? That means every functionality has its own individuality. Agree on this? So in Excel also, we have some different functionalities available wherein we can provide some input to get the output, and every function has its own individuality. No function can do the other function work. Understand? Okay. So now let us see what are those functions and how can we perform or use these cases to our business scenarios, right? So guys, in Excel, we have some different functions available in which these are all the very, very important very, very important functions available in Excel. Okay. So before understanding this, you need to understand about aggregate. So what do you mean by aggregate? Okay, so let me example. Okay, so let me provide you some example here for an aggregate. Suppose let's say here we have some 3 students offline, right? So three persons available. So what are the count of persons? 3. 3 is an individual value. Individual value, right? 3 is a single value.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
3 is a single value. That means aggregated count is an aggregation. That means you have aggregated you people into a single value, which is nothing but a count. The count is representing the count of persons available in this room. Agree? That means you have performed an aggregation on the persons available in the room into a single value. That means aggregated value always gives you a single value. Suppose let's say you have you are a student in a college. Okay, you are a student in a college and there are some 6 subjects in your college. Okay, now what is the total marks that you have gained? What you will do? Total marks. You will just sum up all the marks for each subject and then you will give a single value, which is nothing but an aggregation. Agree? That means aggregation always comes with a single value, right? Always comes with a single value. So let's see, if you take your CGPA. CGPA is nothing but an average of your marks, right? Average of your marks is nothing but your CGPA, correct? Cumulative, what is that name? CGPA full form in okay, cumulative grades, pass percentage. Okay. So here that is also average. So average also giving you a single value. That means every aggregation will give you a single value only. If you take count, or if you take sum, or if you take minimum, or if you take max, or if you take an average, so all those values are aggregated values only. That means it takes a number of values and gives you a single value, represents a single value. And then, so that is called an aggregation, right? So if you see here, sum, average, minimum, max, count, these are also called aggregation functions, guys. That means it always provides you a single value. So you need to understand this. Okay. So now how can we use these functions in Excel? So let us see. Okay. Why we are opening this here? Sign in. రావట్లేదే WBS వస్తుంది ఎక్సెల్ కావాలి లాస్ట్ లో కావాలి ఇప్పుడు కాదు Okay. So let us start. Okay. So now guys, now let us talk about sum. So what the sum function will do? Add. That means
Adding.
suppose say if I want to find out total annual salary that the company has, given. Total annual salary that annual salary company has, given. Now, so how can you use this is equal to whenever you are rating a function, remember you need to start with equal to. Okay, you need to start with equal to sum of here it is asking for a number, right? So suppose let's see if you have to add, if you need to add 2 comma 3, you can add. See, number 1 comma number 2, something like that. Or if you add the range of values, you can do that also. How can you add it? You can just click on this so that every column will be selected, also the data, and then just close bracket and then click on enter. Now see, right? So what happened? The sum of annual salary has come. Agree? Sum of annual salary that the company has spent to the employees has come into the output. Now, if I need to understand what is the average of annual salary. What is the average of annual salary? That means, so if
Equals
you
to average.
understand this, from that what the output you will get, or what is the outcome that you need to understand for average of annual salary. That means on an average, what the company is providing to the employees. On an average, how much the company is paying to the employees. That is what you can understand from the average annual salary. Correct. So let us create the average annual salary. So for this also similarly, correct, equal to average of same annual salary, close bracket, enter. See, this is the average annual salary that company is providing to the employees. On an average, an employee is getting around 1,13,000. That is the average standard of a company. That means from this data, you can understand whether to go for this company or not, or what. Suppose if you are joining into a company, so you can do all this analysis to understand what is the negotiation level that you can ask for, right? Suppose let's say if the company's budget is 2 lakhs, suppose average salary is coming as 2 lakhs. Suppose let's say if you're asking around 1,30,000 or 1,20,000, so they will just provide you. They will say okay and they will take you. But later you will understand that you have lost 80,000 per month because you have not understood the statistics, how much the company is paying on an average. Understand? Okay. So now let us take what is the max salary that this company is providing. Correct. Max. Okay. Just let me write it here. Max salary. So max salary equal to max of, again, close bracket. So this is the max salary. 2,58,498 rupees is the max a particular employee is being paid. Okay. And let us understand what is the minimum. What is the minimum? So if you are understanding all these things, you are able to understand how financially this company is being paid to employees. What is the minimum salary you will be able to understand? What is the maximum salary you will be able to understand? What is the average salary you will be able to understand? And how much total amount the company is being spent to the employees also you will be able to understand, isn't it? Okay, if you understand this, all the values are being represented in a single value. Correct. So equal to min of, again, the annual salary close. So this is the minimum salary. 40,000 is the minimum salary for an employee this company is being paid. Clear on this? So these are all the big five functions, guys. These are all the big five functions. Now let's say if I want to find out what is the average salary that is being paid only on the basis of country, United States. Now we have understood on an aggregate, we have understood that, okay, average salary is 1,13,000. Now, so for each country it differs, right? For each country it may differ. Suppose let's say if you are living in a Hyderabad city, your living cost may differ. If you are living in a Bangalore or some Kolkata or Mumbai, your cost of living may differ. It may increase or it may decrease. So similarly, based on different country, the average annual salary also may differ. Suppose if you are living in a United States guy, if you are a United States guy, and then average annual salary is 1,13,000, but for your country, the annual salary may be higher or average annual salary may be lower. So you need to understand that also, right? So how can you understand? That means you are understanding the average on the basis of some condition. And what is the condition? Condition is called country and the value is United States. Agree? Agree on this? Now, if we need to understand average of annual salary based on country United States. Now you are trying to understand this. How can you understand this? Tell me. Average if. So you need to understand this with the help of function called average if. Okay. So what is the average if? Let's see. Here what it is asking for range, right? So what is the range here? This is the range. Comma. What is the criteria here? United States. And what is the average range here? This is the average range. Closing the bracket, enter. See what is the average range here? It is almost similar, but it is slightly lower than the average annual salary of all the countries. When compared to all the countries, for the United States, it is slightly lower. Correct. Now let us find out for the China. So what I will do, I will just change this criteria. Then I will put it as China. So you see here, China is slightly higher. So accordingly, you can ask, right? So this is the different conditions you can perform. So similarly, how you have done it for the average, you can do it for the sum, you can do it for the count, or you can do it for the minimum with the condition of average if or max if or minimum if or sum if, so all those things. Okay. So now I will not be telling you this because I have explained you this scenario. So now let me explain if there are multiple scenarios. That means based on the country and age or based on country and city, let's say. So based on country is fine. Suppose if you are living in a city called Miami. If you are living in a city called Miami, then what is the average annual salary if you need to understand? Now you are drilling down to the next level, right? So in those cases, you can understand the cases of average ifs. Ifs, that means multiple conditions. Multiple conditions. So average range. Okay. What is the average range here? This one. Comma. What is the first range? Country. Comma. What is the criteria one? United States. And in the United States, what is the city? This is the city. Comma. What is the criteria two? Miami. Closing the bracket. This is the average salary that the person is getting from this company based on the country, United States and city, Miami. Is this clear, guys? Is this clear, everybody? Everybody, guys, Pratyusha, Banu, Raja, Rani, Harika, Srimal, Madhuri, Pujita, Rajiv, Ranadir, Samrin, Satish, Spandana. Everybody understand? Or should I need to repeat it once? Please let me know. Okay, cool. Okay, guys. Now we have understood about the main functionalities in Excel that mostly people use and will be useful, right? And there are some different functions which you can so these also we have understood, right? So now let us move into these things. We have something called is even, right? We have something called rank. We have something called now, is logical, ABS, time, subtotal, square root, text, sum, so all those things are there. Let's see what it is in detail slowly. Okay. Now let's see. So is even means, guys, is even is a function which will provide you whether the value is even or not by providing the Boolean result true or false. Okay. If a particular value is even number,
Yes.
Repeat average ifs. Okay. So let me repeat it once for here, okay? And then we will move on. Okay. So average ifs. That means here, guys, average ifs, this first condition goes for the average range. See here, first range goes for the average range. That means on which range you want to calculate the average. That is the first criteria, comma. Then second is what? Second is what? L. L is this country. That means what is the criteria range? And then comma, what is the criteria that you are providing to the criteria range 1? Comma, what is the criteria range 2? Comma, what is the criteria that you are providing to the criteria range 2? So based on the criteria 1 range, criteria 2 range, based on the filters that you are provided, this particular column J will be filtered out and will be summed up based on the average. Understand? Okay. Is this clear now, Pratyusha? Okay, guys. So now suppose let's say here I'm using is even. Okay, I'm moving to this one. Is even of value. Suppose let's say I'm providing this annual salary. Now I need to understand whether this value is even or not. This is even or not. The ending value is 4, which means it is divided by 2. That means it is even. Right? Suppose let's say if I am providing the value as J3, which is 975 ending with. It is an odd number. So the value will be false. Okay. And now we have something called trunk. Okay. Trunk function. Trunk of number. Suppose let's say I'm providing 234.76889, comma, number of digits. So this trunk functionality is used to, okay, remove the digits after the decimal point. So how many digits that you want to remove, you need to provide in the number of digits. Suppose let's say here if you see this number, 234 is the number point and 76889 is the decimal after the decimal. Correct. So if I am providing as number of digits 3, from left to right, it will keep 3 values and other values it will omit. Okay. So see here, it is omitted. Suppose let's say if I am providing the value as 2. If I am providing the value as 2. See, only the 2 values are being present. So that is the functionality of trunk. Okay. And then we have something called length, LEN. LEN is used to find the length of a particular text. Text ante enti? Text values, string values. Antena? String value. Suppose let's say if I am providing a value as city CTEL M2. So how many values are there? How many text values? SEATTLE 7. 7 characters are there in this particular word. So what will be the length? 7. Suppose let's say if I am writing, what will be this length, guys? Tell me. Huh? 5. But here it will be coming as 6. So in this case, guys, as in Excel or not only in Excel, if you consider any database on SQL also, the space is considered as a character. Okay. So space is considered as a character. So that is why if there are any spaces, now we have understood about the concept of length, right? So now what I will do, now we need to understand about the trim. So basically trim will remove the trailing spaces that are present maybe at the starting or maybe at the end. Now I am just trimming this. Okay. And then enter. So we are getting this value, right? So now when I put a filter of now length, now when I use this function now, the value will be 5. See, that means what has been done? The trim function has removed the trailing spaces that is present in the value VMC, and then it has given you the length of 5 by removing the space. Understand this?
Sir.
Yeah, space is also considered as a character. Okay. So now guys, what are the functions that are left? Okay. So now let us talk about now. Okay. So now is nothing but which will provide you the current date along with the timestamp. Now function will provide you the date along with the timestamp. Now if you need to extract the year. Now you need to extract the year. Now what you can do? Why? Oh, okay. So now you need to understand the functionality of text. Okay. Text, comma. So in double quotes, if I just provide y. So now the year will be extracted from this date. Now, if I want to get month also, but I want to get the month in the name. Are we getting it? Now, if I want to get the month only in the dates, you need to provide only 2 M's. Enter. Understand? Now, if you have to provide, I'm again repeating, if you want to get the values in the names, month names, then you need to provide 4 M's, which will give you the month names. Okay. If you want to find out only the date of the month, then you can provide this. Now, if you need to add also the date, then provide the date. Understand this? Now, if you want to get the name, you can provide the 4 Ds. So based on that, you can extract whatever you want. Kapil. Chestara. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay, this is what the functionality of a text, guys. With the text, either you can get the year, or either you can get the month, or either you can get the date, or either you can get the combination of year and month, or either you can get the combination of month and date, or suppose let's say I don't want the slashes in between, I want the suppose let's say I want this. So you can provide slash, right? See, now I don't want the values to be in the format of mm and dd. I want the values to be in the format of mm and dd, like this, where year and date should come and the month should be the month name. Are we getting it? So similarly, in which format you can get? You can get with the help of the format called text. Is this clear? Okay. So now, so square root equal to square root of 2. So what is square root of 2? It is 4, right? So sorry, 1.4. Right, and then so similarly there are some different functions that are available in Excel. So what we discussed, okay. So okay, repeat, right? Repeat is a function, repeat is a function which will repeat the value how many times you want. Suppose let's say I'm providing the value as Vamsi, I want the value to be repeated multiple times. That means the value, if the value has to be repeated 3 times, the value will be repeated 3 times. Understand? So these are the different functions that are available in the Excel, guys. Okay, now did you understand what are the topics we discussed? We discussed about sum, we discussed about average, we discussed about sum if, average if, average ifs, right? Count ifs, and then we discussed about repeat, we discussed about ABS, we discussed about is even, we discussed about text, we discussed about repeat, we discussed about we discussed about trunk, we discussed about now, we discussed about length, we discussed about trim. So all the functions has been covered up. Agree? Agree, guys? So only function that is not told is ABS. Is logical. Okay. Subtotal is similar to sum and all those things. So is logical, guys. Suppose let's say if you are just providing the value as true, it just checks whether the value is true or false. See, it is true, right? Suppose if I provide the value as false also, it will provide the value as true only. That is the true. Whether you provide true or whether you provide false, for both the values true and false, it gives the value as true. Suppose let's say if I am providing is logical, okay. If I am providing is logical as 20, just remove this. I'm providing the value as 20. Now for this one, it will provide the value as false. That means other than the value true or false, if any value comes, it just gives you the value as false. That is the concept of is logical. Okay. So that is the concept of is logical, guys. Now we have understood about the functionalities, what we can do with the help of these functions, right? Now let us see some of the questions. some of the questions. Okay. Okay. So just take 2 minutes of time, read the question, and then I will just try to explain. Okay. Guys, read the question and then I will try to explain in 2 minutes. Okay. Okay. So let me tell you. So what is the ask here? The ask is to create an alternative employee ID. Okay. Okay. So here, if you see, here we are already having an employee ID column. EID column we are having. Correct. So we need to create a new column called an alternative employee ID. So what are the conditions for that? See here. What are the conditions? If the employee ID is E0145, something like that. Okay. And the employee name is this one. Then this first digit, then the alternative employee ID should be starting letter of employee name. Then the employee ID should be the starting letter of the employee name followed by these digits. Understand? So how can we create this? How can we create a new column by writing a function where we need to get the result of getting first letter of the employee and then followed by the IDs of the employee ID. Guys, tell me. Here I am writing as alternative employee ID. Okay. Now tell me. Okay, so now let me tell you, we have a function called left. Okay. We have a function called left wherein we can get how many characters we want from a name. Suppose let's say if I am providing the value as this one, Emily Davis, right? Right, comma, number of characters as 1. Now what it will do, from the left to the right, it will take the first character. What is the first character? That is E. Getting it? Correct. So now, so similarly we need to get the employee ID also by removing the first digit, that is E, from the employee ID. How can you get that? Left, okay. Okay. It is asking what is the index, not the character. Number character. That means whether it is a index 1 or index 2 or index 3. Suppose let's say if you provide 3, from first 1, 3 values will be coming up. If you provide 4 from first index, 4 values will be coming up. Understand? So suppose let's say if I am providing as 1, what happens? The value, first value will come, which is ID, E, right? Suppose if here I will provide value as 2. Okay. 2. E0. Understand this. Now, how can you get only the digits removing the employee? Think about it. Tell me. Okay, so let me tell you. So there is a concept of length we discussed, right? So this I am selecting and then I am closing the bracket. So what is the length here? 6, right? So if I put a -1, because I need to remove the first value, what is that? 5. But when we put a left, what happens? From the left to the right, 5 values will be retrieved. Here we have the concept of right. We have the concept of right of employee ID, comma, this 5, whatever the value we got. Enter. Are you getting it? Now, Now let us use case this all concepts into a single functionality. So how can you get it? Equal to left of employee name, comma 1, right? So here we need to understand about the concept of concatenate. Okay, concatenate of left, comma, text 2. What is the text 2 here? Right of employee ID, comma, what is the number of characters here? It needs to get it dynamically, right? Length of this minus 1. See. Now for all the rows, it has been come up with the name of the employee followed by the ID of the employee, correct? Now if you see this particular row T, next it has come as L because it may be starting with the name Luna. Right? And if you see 02572, is it coming up? So this is how we use the functions to create some calculated columns in the data. Understand this? Guys, everybody are following up?
Can you repeat once?
Okay, sure. So చూడండి, see guys here we are trying to get the name of the employee. That means starting letter of the name of the employee. Plus that means we are trying to concatenate the first letter of the employee with the ID of the employee by removing the E. That means which is at the starting, correct? So for that, what we are trying to do here, first we are trying to find out first letter of the employee name, right? And then here this right function, first we are giving the employee ID, comma, this length of A3, how many values it will provide? What is the length of that particular ID? It will give you that length, right? If you subtract -1, what happens? The first, to remove the first row, we can subtract the -1 so that the length will decrease to 5. If it is 6, it will decrease to 5. When you put a function of right and the number of characters as 5, that means from the right, it will calculate the first 5 characters and it will deselect the first value, which is nothing but E. And then what we are trying to do, we are trying to concatenate both the left, that means the first name, first letter of the employee, followed by the ID of the employee, which we are concatenating and then giving it into a single column, which is nothing but a alternative employee ID. Is this clear, guys? Is this clear?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. So now let us go into the next question. Very simple one. Find the employees who got exited from the company. The value should be true or false. That means now from this data set, now we are now trying to understand former employees. Former employee means the employee which previously worked and then left the organization. Those are called former employees. So now how can you do this? How can you understand whether he is present in the company or not? Correct. With the exit date, if the value is present in the exit date, that means he has exited from the company. Correct. So how can you understand? That means if the value is present in the exit date, we can provide the value as true. That means he has already exited the company. If the value is not equal to, if it is not having any value, that means false, right? That means you need to understand the functionality of if condition, correct? So let me write it here, equal to if of. See what it is asking for. First is logical test. What is logical test here? This one not equal to, this particular value should not be equal to null. If this value is being not null, it means true, or otherwise it is false, correct? Correct, guys? Here it is what it is trying to do. If condition, it is asking for a logical condition. Logical condition is what? We are trying to equate the value of exit date to null. If it is being null, it goes to false condition. If it is not being null, it goes to true condition. So when it is being true, that means he has already exited from the company. That means the exit date is having some value. Correct. So enter. See, as we are having this value, we are getting the value as true. Here, as we are getting the value, we are having the value as true. All the other values are being false. Correct. Correct. So this is what a if condition also do. Now you have understood about left functionality, you have understood about right functionality, you have understood about concatenate, and then you understood about if condition, right? So let's move on to the next one. Provide the bonuses in this format. Okay, fine, okay. So find the experiences of an employee. So let me write an experience column. So how do you find an experience of employee? So here we have a column called hire date. When he got hired into the company, right? So when you differentiate till date, if you differentiate from the hire date, how many days he is having, then you will be able to understand, right? So how many years he is having, agree? So tell me, how do you do? How do you differentiate the two dates? Okay. Exit date. No, right? Exit date minus hire date will give you only for the employees who have exited from the company.
Hire
Right.
date.
Today minus hire date.
Okay. Now minus
Hire date.
hire date. So what do you think? It will give you the number.
Date of
Days.
Yeah, that we need to perform an if condition. But just like for understanding what is the experience, how do you understand? Here, if you see, when you are separating, what is the value we are getting? We are getting the values in days.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So how do you get? So here there is a function called date diff. Date diff. That means what is the start date now? Let's say I'm just providing now, comma, end date. Suppose let's say I am giving it as okay. Start date is higher date, right? So I'm just giving it this date, higher date, comma, end date is giving as now, comma, comparison is here is y. That means here we are doing a
Yes.
Are we getting the years comparison, guys? But here, as you told, for the exited employees, we need to get the difference between the exit date and the exit date and the hire date. So how do you do? Tell me. If again same, exit date is not equal to, okay, is not equal to null, comma, then in that case, what you need to provide? You need to provide date diff of exit date, okay, start date, sorry, hire date, comma, exit date, comma, and comparison is y, else date difference of start date is hire date, comma, now we have given already the exit date, right? N2, right? And then comparison is here. Now see, because he has worked from 2016 till 2021, he have got the years of experience as 5. But whose, right? He has started in the 1997, still working, right? So 26 years. So that is the reason why we are getting the value as 26. So now what we have understood, now we understood that we can incorporate multiple functions into a single function with the help of if, where if condition we have checked whether the exit date is null or not. Because it is not null, we have gathered the date difference between exit date to hire date. When the value is being null, that means he's still present in the company. So that's the reason why we have calculated on the basis of today's date. Understand this? Right? Okay. So now provide the bonuses in this format. That means they are asking to create a bonus in a format where if the employee experience is in the range 3 to 8, then give it as 10%. If the range is in between 9 to 12%, then give it as 15, else give it as 5. So how do you do?
Using if conditions.
Okay, using only if condition.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So let me tell you. So here you will need to understand about the concept of AND operator. Okay. So see equal to, so what is the condition? If experience is means this, right? Q2, if suppose if there is only one condition where if the experience is greater than 3, you can just provide some value and then provide some bonus. But that is not the case, right? Where it is they are asking to check whether this particular experience is in the range from 3 to 8. That means it should be greater than 3 and it should be less than 8. Then only you need to provide the bonus as 10%. So how do you do? Here you need to understand about the concept of AND operator where it satisfies both conditions. That means when the particular value is greater than 3 and less than 8 only, it satisfies as true. Then only it goes to the true condition, guys. Okay. So AND operator of what is the AND operator? Equal this value greater than or equal to 3, comma. What is the logical? Again, this value less than or equal to 8. If this is being satisfied, comma, what is what is the condition? 10%. Antena? 10%, comma, or else what we need to do? Yes, we can use, but here if you see the question, again we need to check whether the range is in between 9 to 12. That means if it is being failed, that means if the range is not in between 3 to 8, then only it goes to 9 to 12. So here in the if condition, again we can write some if condition. That means if it is being failed, again it loops into other if condition. Understand? If and this Q2 greater than or equal to 9, comma, this Q2 less than or equal to 12, then 15% or else 5%. Closing the brackets. I think everything has been closed, correct? Okay, here it is not closed.
Yes, sir. Bracket.
Okay, I think it is clear, right? So I'm just entering it. See, now the bonuses has been provided based on the criteria. Understand? Okay. So anybody is having any doubts on this, guys? Now here we have understood the concept of if also. We have understood the concept of AND operator also, and then nested if condition also we have used. Correct? Okay. Now update the values. This is very easy. Update the values from lowercase to uppercase for a column gender. How do you do? Tell me. How do you update the case? That means suppose let's say if the values are in this case male, then you need to update it to the capital cases. So how do you do? Equal to, we have something called upper, and then you can just provide the gender and then close bracket, enter, so that all the values will be updated to the uppercase. Then if you want to sorry. All right. Okay. So if you want to update it to the lower case, then you can use the concept of lower. Okay. So now, see, this we have already discussed, right? So I'm not telling you these two questions. Okay. So find the count of employees working in United States and annual salary greater than one. Like we have already done this, right? So I'm not telling you this on 10th question. 9th question. Do I need to tell this or? The retired age of employee is 60 years. Create a calculated column, expected retired date based on the higher date.
Higher date, add 60 years and write the retired date.
Correct. Very simple one, right? You try to do. Okay. So So guys, by now we have completed the concept of functions. Wherein, what are all the functions we discussed in this concept? Tell me. We have discussed about sum if, average if, count if, minimum, max, min if, ifs conditions we have already discussed, and then we discussed about length. We discussed about trim, ABS, truncate, and then we discussed about square root. Then is even, is logical. Then now operator. Then yes, upper, then lower, left, right, if condition, date, and then text operator, and then what we discussed again. Concatenate we discussed, right operator we discussed. So many functions which are being used prominently in the while creating calculated columns, we have touched all those things. Okay. So now we are having some understanding about all those things. Okay. So now just take some 2 to 3 minutes of break. Then we will start with the conditional format.
Done speaking. Any question? Here is your turn.
Okay, guys, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So till this point, you are, understanding, right? So now let's move on and then discuss about. Yeah. Yes. Yes, sir. Okay, guys, let's start about, okay. So let's discuss about lookups. Let's discuss about lookups today. Okay. So what do you mean by lookup? Anybody is having any idea? Lookup. No, right? So, okay. So lookup means suppose you are dealing with some multiple sheets or dealing with multiple tables that are created inside the sheets, and you want some other values to be coming into some other location based on some condition. That means suppose let's say you are having a product here. You're having a product column here, but you do not have those values, but you have the employee ID and okay. Okay. Here, now here I'm trying to find out the employee ID. Employee ID. Now, based on this employee ID, I want to get the employee name out of the data. Out of the whole data. Now, based on the employee ID, I want to find the employee name. How do we find out? We can find out using the lookups, guys. Lookups is a function. Okay. So lookups is a function which can look up the data. Look up the data in the data set based on the criteria you are providing. And what is the criteria here? Criteria is employee ID. Correct. So now see, guys, here we have a concept of VLOOKUP. Okay. VLOOKUP is a function which takes the data only, the criteria column is only on the criteria column is only on the left column. Okay. Now, suppose let's say here we are looking for a criteria column called employee ID. So VLOOKUP only checks the criteria column at the leftmost column. Leftmost column, what is leftmost column? Employee ID. So as the leftmost column is the employee ID and the criteria VLOOKUP also looks at the leftmost column only, and the criteria being provided is also the employee ID. So we can use the case of VLOOKUP. Okay. So VLOOKUP stands for this value, lookup value. We are looking for this employee ID, and where we are looking up in this range. Correct? We are looking up the data in this range. Okay. Comma, column index number. If you see, index 1 is provided for the employee ID, index 2 is provided for the name, index 3 is provided for the place, and index 4 is provided for the department. Why it has been provided like that? Because VLOOKUP only looks at the from the left side. First column is employee ID. So it is referring the employee ID as index 1 column, referring the name as index 2, place 3, and department 4. And what is the column we need to get? Name. So I am selecting the index 2, comma. Here it is asking either to go for an exact match or an approximate match. So here we need to go for exact match. So I'm just providing 0, enter. See what is being happened. So based on that employee, the value being Rajesh is being retrieved here. Correct. So if you want to find out for the place and department, what we can do? Tell me, what is the change we can do here? We look up here. We need to do some change in order to get the place. What is that? Change the column. So that means index number we need to change it to 3. But still we are getting an error. Why is that? Understand the data.
From 0 it has been started.
No, index 1. From 1. To understand here, the VLOOKUP, the lookup value is getting changed. It has been come to I4. But here, when you go to the Rajesh, here it is I3. Here it is I4. So why it is being changed? Because you are dragging the formula to the down. The cell is also being incremented. So if you have to stop that, you need to understand about the concept of absolute reference or locking the cells. How do you do? How do you lock the cell? You just select the cell, and then click on.
Guys, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I'm audible right now? Okay, cool. Okay, so now guys, here now we are discussing about a lookup, okay, which can look up the values based on a criteria in the data set and provide the data in some other location. So if you see this example, we have employee ID, we have a name, we have some years, right? So 2019 sales, we have 2020 sales, we have 2021 sales also we have, and then we have some product. So product details we do not have, okay, and then the product details are being stored in this particular table. So based on this table, you need to bring out the product into this table. So how can you bring out? If you see here properly, here we have a column called employee ID, and here also we have a column called employee ID, correct? So if we link up this employee ID, that means based on the criteria employee ID, if we just look up the column called product here in this table, can we get the data here? We can get it, right? That means what we are trying to do now, we are trying to fetch out the data present in the some other sheet into the other sheet or into the current sheet based on the condition employee ID, correct? Now we lookup value. What is the lookup value? Employee ID, comma, table array. What is the table array? This is the table array, because in this table only we need to look up that particular value, correct? Now I am selecting this data and then comma, what is the column index number we want? Index 3, correct? Because we want to get the value product, because it is 3. Starting from employee ID 1, name is 2 and product 3, and as we need to get the value for the column product, we are providing the value as 3, comma, exact match 0, enter. See, are we getting the data here? Based on this employee ID 12061, where it is present, here it is present, 12061 it is the value, correct? Now if you see here the formula, now I am locking this cell. I am locking this cell and then enter. And now I am just clicking, coming to this, end of this right side and then just double clicking it. So all the values have been populated.
How to log the number?
Understand this, guys? So now if you see what happened for each employee ID, now we have got the product based on other table. Based on other table. This is called VLOOKUP. Okay, so the VLOOKUP only works for the tables where the columns are represented from the left to right and the rows are represented from top to bottom. If that is the manner, then the VLOOKUP works. All column should be at the left column. The criteria column should be at the leftmost column. How to lock? Function F4. Okay. Okay, cool. So now let us see this another example. Here we have an item, we have a model, and then but we do not have a rate, right? We do not have a rate. So how do you do? So here if you see, we are having the rate here. Based on the item name, we are having the rate here. So here what I need to do, equal to VLOOKUP of what is the lookup value? Lenovo, comma, what is the table we need to refer it to? This one, correct, comma, second one rate we need to get, and then exact match we need to get, and then locking these cells. I'm locking this table so that when I just drag it to the downside also, these values doesn't change, it will be static. So I'm entering it. So now see the rate has come here, and then I'm just double clicking it, so all the values has been provided. Very simple function and very useful function also, so that you can compare the data. You can compare the data, or if there are multiple tables together and if you want to bring it into a single table based on a condition, so that you can perform the VLOOKUP. Understand this, guys? Anybody is having any doubt on this? Guys, anybody is having any doubt? Okay, so now let us see the example 2. So if you see the example 2, here we have an employee ID, same employee name we have, and again with respect to 2019 we have some data, 2020 we have some data, 2021 we have some data. So based on the employee ID, now if I want to find out the 2019, 20 and 21 data. Okay, so now what I need to do, equal to VLOOKUP of lookup value, comma, table array is this. Then table array is this. And then I am just locking this cells function F4, right, comma, column index number. What is the column index number here? See the column index number, it is showing properly. For 2019, what is the index? 3. So I'm just providing it as 3. And it should be an exact match. So I'm providing an exact match. Enter. So are we getting the data here? For 12082, this is the data. 93108 is the data, correct? That is the data we are getting here. That means the data has been extracted successfully with the help of VLOOKUP on the basis of condition employee ID. Correct? Now, how can you apply this condition to the other cells also? Here we are getting as NA. Why is that? Tell me.
But we are not mentioning the indexing values.
Okay. So now here you mean to say I need to change it to 4. Changed it. So still it is giving it as NA. It is giving an error. Why is that?
We
Think
have to
about
lock
it
the
correctly.
column as well.
Because the here is G2 and when it is coming to 2020 it is being provided as H2. So you need to lock the criteria column. This one you need to lock and you should not lock this value. Enter. Now what happens? This value will be coming up and it should be coming up, and here you should change it to 4, correct? And here you should change it to 5. But every time if there are multiple columns in a sequence in a array, you cannot every time you cannot do 4, 5, 6, you cannot change it, right? Once you write a function that should be applicable to everyone, right? Everything. So how can you do? Here we have a concept of columns. Columns of, now what I am trying to do, I am providing an array. It is asking for an array, right? So now what I am trying to do here, I am providing this array. I am providing this array. So what is the value we got? 5. Because from A1 to E5 there are 5 values. Suppose if I limit it to C1, 3, correct? So now here what I am trying to do, that value I will incorporate instead of the static value, that is columns of, okay, A1 to C1, where A1 will be logged so that it always starts from the starting, right? And then I will lock the first row. I will remove on the C1. Now what happens? What is the error we are getting here?
We are missing a bracket, sir.
Okay. Bracket. I think it's cool now. Enter. Oh, still error. Okay. Enter. So now see, now we are getting this value. Correct. Now if I just drag this down, or if I just drag this down here, now it is giving not an error, because here it is checking the columns, the value will be 4 here. So that's the reason why it is giving you the 2020 value. And when you just provide it to 2021, it gives you the value as 5. Correct. So now if I just double click here, the values are coming up. Similarly, coming up. So it has been completed very simply with the help of VLOOKUP. Agree on this? Okay. So now let's see this example. Okay. Let's see this example where, so similar way. So I will not be explaining it, similar way where you need to get this value. So for this employee, you will again write the same function and then just drag it to the right side so that the values will be provided. Okay. So let us move into the next question. Example 3. So here we are having some data set. So here we do not have the full names. If you see here, Roshan. So Roshan, where it is Roshan, Roshan K we are having, but it is not the full name. But if it is not a full name also, even though we have some subset of name, based on that you need to find out the 2020 sales. So how do you do? Equal to VLOOKUP of lookup value. What is the lookup value? This is the lookup value. But to this lookup value, as it is not a full name, now I am going with the concept of star, wherein after the Roshan, whatever the value it may be, it will just omit and it will check whether the Roshan is present in the table array or not, criteria column or not. Okay, comma. What is the table array? Do I need to select it from the employee ID or do I need to select it from the name? Which one do you need to select? Whether need to from employee ID or from name? Name. Why? If it is selected from the name, why it is? Because the name column, the criteria column here is our name and the leftmost column is employee ID here. So when you put a table array starting from the employee ID, the name values will be checked in the column employee ID, which will not give you any result. Correct. So for that, what we need to do? We need to select from this data set from name. So I am selecting this, locking this, and then comma. What is the column we want? 2024, comma 0. Enter. See. If where is Roshan present? For the Roshan, 2020 is 87410, and that is the value we are getting here. So similarly, when you just click a symbol here, so all those values also be coming up. Correct. Correct, guys? Okay. So anybody is having any doubts on this? Okay. So now we have understood the concept of VLOOKUP. Now let us understand the concept of HLOOKUP, guys. Okay, HLOOKUP. HLOOKUP stands for horizontal lookup. Okay. So what do you mean by horizontal lookup? We applied vertical lookup, which is nothing but a VLOOKUP, when the columns are from left to right and the values are from top to bottom. So you apply the horizontal lookup when the columns are from top to bottom and the values are from left to right. So if you see in this example, so this employee ID, name, 2019, 20, 21, all these values are from top to bottom. So that is the reason why we call them as HLOOKUP, because the columns are representing the top to bottom order and the values are representing the left to right order. Understand? Okay. So before going for this, you need to understand how you can transpose a vertical table into a horizontal. Understand? So how do you do is select the table. I am just selecting the table. Control C, copy that. Control C, copy that. And then suppose let's say if I want to paste it here, I am pasting it here. Go to the paste. Go to the paste special. Go to the something called transpose. And when you click on OK, the table will be put into the format of horizontal manner. Understand this? So what we have done, we have just selected this data set and then we have clicked on Control C, which stands for copy. Correct. And then we have selected the cell where we need to copy and then we went to the paste and then we clicked on paste special and then we clicked on transpose, where the transpose of table has been happened from the vertical manner into horizontal manner. Correct. So now we have understood about how we can change the table from left to, sorry, vertical to horizontal manner. Suppose let's say we do not have a product values here. So now you need to get the product values here. Now what you can do, as the table is in the format of horizontal manner, you need to understand about HLOOKUP. HLOOKUP of lookup value. What is the lookup value? This is the lookup value, comma. What is the table array? So this is present, suppose let's say in this table. If it is present here, so I am selecting this table structure. Okay, I am selecting this table, and then I am putting a reference. Okay, comma. What is the row number we need to get? We need to get 3, comma 0. Enter. See, coming up. Now when you just drag it to the right side, so all the values will be coming up with respect to the HLOOKUP. Very similar to the vertical lookup. Only difference is that you need to check whether the value is present in the left side or vertical table, or the table is a horizontal table. That is the only thing that you need to understand. If you are working with a vertical table where the columns are represented from left to right, then in that case you will go for VLOOKUP. Or if the table columns are represented from top to bottom, then in that case you will go for HLOOKUP. Clear? Okay. So now there is some disadvantages with respect to the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. What is the disadvantage? The disadvantage is that you cannot select the, suppose let's say there is a criteria column called a name. So based on that name, I cannot select the employee ID. Correct. Because, right. So the criteria column, whatever the column, will be able to select only, suppose let's say if I want to select this employee ID column in the output. So can I do that? No, right? I select the name as criteria because the name is left or right to the employee, and then the criteria column is, so what we discussed on the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, only the will be considered, and then here all the values which are to the right only considered for the evaluation. Correct? Correct, guys? Okay. Okay, cool. So now in order to overcome the scenario, we have the concept of lookup. We have a function called lookup. So if you see here, we have an employee name. So based on this employee name, we cannot get the employee ID in the VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. But in the case of lookup, we can get the data. But there is some disadvantage with this also. Before going to do anything, you need to sort the data on the basis of ascending order first. That means go to data, sort, ascending order. Only then this sorting will be performed. Okay. So see here, now the formula is lookup of lookup value. What is the lookup value, Lakshmi? Comma, lookup vector. So where we are trying to look up, Lakshmi, in this comma, result vector. What is the result vector we got? We want to get employee ID. Enter. See, for Lakshmi, this is the employee ID. For Lakshmi, this is the employee ID. That means we are able to select the leftmost column with the help of lookup. What only thing is that lookup function, you need to make sure that the values are in the ascending order. The values are sorted in the ascending order. Only then you will be getting the correct result. Clear? Okay. Okay, guys. Now let us move on with the help. What is index? Index and match. There are some different two functions which we can coordinate and use, which will be used very much, instead of lookup. Okay. So now see here. Here we have a name, Gopi. Okay. So based on that, I want to find out the place. I want to find out the department. I want to find out the employee ID. That means name is present here. So based on that, I am trying to select the place, department, and employee ID. Correct. So now what we can do, equal to index of. Okay. Here it is asking for a array. What is the array that you need to provide? Full data set array you need to provide, comma, row number. So instead of a known number, we use the concept of match, wherein it looks for a lookup value and then it gives you the index in which the particular value is located. Suppose in this case, match of lookup value. The lookup value is this one. Gopi. So, comma. The vector is what? Lookup array is what? This one. Comma. Match type is 0. So now as this is matched, this value will be present. It is present at index. Index which location? Right? It is present at location B2. Correct. So this is done. So the index it will provide as 2. From 1, it is 2. Correct. And then what else we have? Column name we have. So here also we give the match function. Here the lookup value is this place. Because I am not giving the value statically, I am trying to get the column index dynamically by providing the name place where I need to find out. I need to find out this in this particular array, correct? Comma 0. So what happens? This one close, close. So place, okay. Why it is coming as place? Oh, match of I3 B1 2. See here. Now we are getting the data. So what happened here? If you see the formula, here I have provided before with the from B2. So that's the reason why it has selected the place. But if you see, place is being present at this particular location, that is index C, right? And the value is present at index 1. So C1 is Tenali. So that is the value we are getting here. Correct. Now what happens? As we are checking with this I3 condition only, now I will just log this cell with the help of F4 and then this also needs to be logged and then H5 can be logged. Right. And then I'm just clicking on enter. See, now we are getting this. Now when I just drag it to the right. Okay, let me just do this also. Enter. Now when I just drag this to the right, here we are getting an error. Why is that so? Because the employee ID present in this particular column and the employee ID present in the data set are not matching, because there is a space in between the employee ID and the data, but we do not have a space here, right? That means what is being happening, it is checking the conditions on the basis of case sensitive. It is case sensitive, correct? So in these cases, what you can here, what you can do, tell me. Suppose let's say if I do here, okay, so what I will do, I am going here and then here I am just writing left of this particular condition comma 3. That means I am just taking the first 3 letters and then and star and star. Now what happens? First I am taking out the 3 digits, that means PLA, and then I am checking whatever the value that may be present for the PLA. So just take out that value. So we are getting the Tenali. Now it will be applied to the okay. Now it will be applied to the department also. First 3 digits TPE, TEP. It will check in this particular column. So it is matching. That is why it is giving the value as triple. Now here also it will check the value for EMP, not for ID, and will give you a data. It is not giving. See, it is now giving you the data. Now did you get this point, guys? Now we are able to get this data by the concept of indirect match. Correct. Index and then we have understood the concept of match also. Correct? Anybody? Please tell me. If there are any doubts. No doubts? Guys, please tell me. Okay. I think there are no doubts. Okay. So now we have understood about the lookups, right? So now let us understand the concept of conditional formatting. So this is very, very important. So when just working with clients or your boss, when he has to get only specific some data where it has to be highlighted, right? When you have to highlight the required data, then in that case you need to understand the concept of conditional formatting. Okay. Suppose let's say conditional formatting is used to highlight the cells either maybe by giving some color or by changing the font or changing the font size or font color, something like that. Okay. So now you can do all those things here. Here we have something called in the home tab conditional formatting. Correct. Suppose let's say here we am having an annual salary column. I am going to conditional formatting and then I want to find out the annual salary is greater than 2 lakhs. Let's say 2 lakhs. Now what happens? Now I want to highlight it with green color. Let's say I am clicking on OK. Now wherever the data that is present more than 2 lakhs will be highlighted. Agree? So that we will be able to understand the whatever the cells that are being highlighted, we'll be able to understand that okay, these cells are having the salary more than 2 lakhs. Now there is one use case by salary is can filter the data based on the color. You know that? So right click and then sort. If you see custom sort, okay, here we can provide it by cell color. On top, no cell color. Font. Wait, okay, sort weight is not coming, right? Annual salary. I'm selecting the annual salary, cell color. We can provide the green. Okay. So now see, only the values which are with two has been selected at the top, and then other values are being coming up. That means we can sort the data on the basis of color also. Correct? Now we have some filter, right? Now we have to remove this. You need to go to this manage rules, click on this, click on delete rule and click on OK. So that the whatever the rule that you have created, that means the conditional formatting that you have created column annual salary will be removed. Clear? So that is the basic. Okay, that is the basic. So similarly, we have something called less than, we have something called between, equal to, text that contains a date occurring in between the dates, start date, end date you can provide. And then we have something called top bottom rules. That means, so suppose let's say if you want to find out the top 10 annual salaries, or if you want to find out, okay, you want to find out the top 10 bonus, okay, or if you want to find out the least annual least 10 salaries. So you can use all these things, bottom 10 items, top 10 items, you can see all those things. Suppose let's say if you want to find out the annual salary is greater than above average, if there will be some average value, right? So above the average value, whatever the values that may contain in that particular column will be selected. Understand? So all those things you can perform. So when you go to this data bars, you can provide some colors to the, suppose let's say I am going to this data bars and then I just provide this color. So now what happens? The values are being represented by the bar. Understand? Okay. Now if you have to remove this condition, you need to go to the manage rules and then delete rule, click on OK. Understand guys? So this is the basic of conditional form. So let's see some examples. With some examples, I'll try to explain how to do the conditional format. Okay. So see here guys, given some of the dates for expiry dates. Okay. So let me create some expiry date here. Let me create. Expiry date. What is the expiry date here? It is 12/05/2024, let's say. And next is 29/05/2024. Next is 16/03/2023. So let's say we have some dates. Okay. Now the conditional formatting is, suppose let's say I want to highlight the dates. I want to highlight the dates where the dates have already passed. The dates have already passed means the dates which has already gone. Today we are at the date of 18, right? So 16 has been passed away, correct? So you need only the you do. So how do you highlight the which has been already passed away? So how do you do, guys? So you go with conditional formatting. You have something called a new rule. Okay, so click on that new rule, and here we have something called use formula to determine which cells to format. Okay, so you need to provide equal to, okay, equal to this condition R2, where you need to provide, you need to remove the reference to the value because it has to be multiplied to the other cells also. Okay, less than today. Antena? Correct? Or less than now, whatever you want. So what happens, this date checks whether it is less than the current date or not. If it is less than the current date, that means it has already passed away. So for those conditions, what is the type of formatting that you want to provide? Okay, now I want to just provide this color, let's say. Okay, and then I am clicking on OK. Now it is not providing correctly. Why is that? Because I have selected this row and then clicked on that particular condition. Now I am going to the manage rules. Here if you see, it is being applied to this IR6, but to whom it has to apply to? Apply to these three cells, correct? So I am clicking on OK. Now see, it is being applied to all the cells. Why is that? Edit rule, here change it to 2, click on OK. Okay, now see here, guys, the dates 2024 and 16/3/2023 has been, right? Those cells has been formatted with this. So if you see the date 29/5/2024, as it has not been passed and it is yet to come, that value is not being selected. That means the values are selecting correctly. That means we are checking the validations or the conditions by highlighting the data. Agree on this, guys? Following up, guys, tell me. Anybody is having any doubts till this point, guys? Everybody clear? Clear? Okay. Okay, guys. Now let us see the question. First question. What is the first question? Find the rows of employees who got hired before 2020. What do you mean by that? That means we need to select the employees, whole data, whole rows we need to select who got hired before 2020. Tell me. So here we have some hire date. So just click on this, go to the conditional formatting, go to the new rule, and then here use a formula equal to year of this particular date, hire date, correct, date less than 2020. So when it matches, you need to format those particular cells. So I am highlighting with this one. Click on OK. OK. Now see, coming up, now go to the manage rules to see if there is any error or not. Now it is currently being applied to AI only, correct? Now if you have to apply it to the A, that means $, A2 2 till n1001. So now it will apply to this edit rule. Okay, okay, okay. Now see here, guys. Now it has been applied to all the rows. It means all the rows has been selected based on the criteria where the hire date is less than 2020. That means he has been hired into the company less than 2020. If you see here in this particular row, he has been hired on year 2020. That's the reason why he is not selected. If you see this one, he is also got selected on 2020, 2021, 2020. So all those got selected after the 2020 or on or before 2020. Those values are being omitted and all the other values are being selected. Correct? Correct? Okay. So anybody is having any doubts on this? So I'm just removing this rule. Now let us see the next one. So find the duplicates in the column job title. Find the duplicates in the column job title. Ignore the first occurrence. That means here we are having a column called job title. So based on this job title, okay. So based on this job title, or let's say based on the okay. So based on the job title, guys, you need to find out the duplicates. Suppose let's say duplicates means if this senior manager is there, if it is being coming up again, so that will be considered as duplicate. So you need to highlight that cell. How do you do? Select on this job title, go to the conditional formatting, new rule, use a formula. Here, what is the formula that we are going to use? Count. If here we are trying to count the value, that means what is the value? First we need to provide the range. First we need to provide the range. What is the range? This is the range. C2 2. That means let me make this dollar. I'm just locking the first cell and then providing here as 2. And then the value that we want to check is also C2. Correct? Here I am removing the reference to the values because it has to be checked to the other cells also, because the formula has to be applied to the other cells also. That is the reason why I am removing the filter for the values and I am keeping the absolute reference for the column. Okay. So this one we are greater than 1. Now what happens for first row? C2, it will start from C2 and then till C2. It gives only the vice value, vice president 1. Correct. So it is equal to 1. It should not be greater than 1. So first value will not be selected. When you see the second value, vice president, as the vice president has been repeated multiple times, it will be selected now. So now let's see if that is being worked or not. Now I'm just selecting this. Click on OK. Click on OK. Okay, it is not coming up correctly. So let me check. Go to the manage rules. Here it should be applied to C2. Edit rule C2. C2. Okay, still it's giving an error, guys. What is the error? Okay, it has been changed to C3. Let me make it as C2, comma C2. Right? Clicking on OK. Now if you see, this value is not duplicated first. Since it is not duplicated, this value is not being selected. Now if you see till the vice president, all the vice president values has been selected because the vice president values are duplicated those many times. And then here we are having a senior manager, technical architect, director. So all these values are not being duplicated. So that is the reason why it has left blank. Correct. No color has been applied to these cells. Now if you see here, again the manager has been repeated. Here the manager has come and again the manager has been repeated. That is the reason why that particular value has been selected. Agree on this? So similarly, it goes to the other values also. That means wherever the values are being duplicated, those values are being selected. Correct? Okay. So now let's say, guys, okay, so these are all the things that you work under conditional formatting. Okay. So after the class, if you want, I can provide you these sheets also to practice so that you can, equip it with the knowledge. Okay. So the conditional formatting is completed. So you try to, work on these other things, very simple ones. Okay. So now we discussed about the conditional formatting, guys. So now we are moving on to the very, very important topic. There are only two topics left. Don't worry. Okay, there are only two topics left, main topics. One is first you need to work. You have to work with the data. You have to analyze the data. First you need to remove the duplicates. Remove the duplicates, right? So how do we do that? So let us see. I don't know. You need to check with the team one. Okay. Okay. See here, guys. Now if you see here, what is the duplicate we are having? See it properly. See this data set properly. What is the row where we are having the duplicate? Tell me. So if you see the row 3, the value has been duplicated. Correct. So this we were able to find it out after spending some time on the Excel sheet. Correct. After spending some time on the Excel sheet, we were able to find out one duplicate. What if there are 1 lakh of data or 2 lakhs of data, and then you need to remove the duplicates? Can we do it manually? No, right? We cannot do it manually. So in this case, we use the concept of remove duplicates function. Okay. So here in the when you go to the data, we have something called here remove duplicates. Okay. So when you click on this remove duplicates, I'm just selecting this cell, going to remove duplicates. So it is asking on which basis we need to remove the duplicates. So on which basis we need to remove the duplicates? Suppose let's say if you see here, so sometimes what happens is the employee ID may be same, the employee name may be same, but the suppose let's say if there is a employee names, there are suppose let's say 4 Vamsis. So in the company there are 4 employees names called Vamsi. If you just because the full names are being Vamsi, can you delete those values or records? No, right? Because the values may be same because there are different Vamsis available in the world, right? But their surnames or their may be different. Correct. That will how you uniquely, uniquely finding that person. You can uniquely find that person by the employee. Find that person. If the employee ID is being repeated multiple times, that means we can say this employee ID has come multiple times. Correct. So instead of the select all column, if you just select only basis of employee ID, and then I just click on remove duplicate, what happens? The order will be removed. See, it has been removed. It is no more present. Till then we are having 8 rows. Now it has been reduced to 7 rows. Correct. If you see here, 1 duplicates are found and have been detected. 6 unique values are remained. That means it has removed the duplicate and then kept the unique ones. Understand? Now let's say, let me do one thing. Let me recap. Suppose let's say what I am trying to do here. Now here I am having a full name. Okay. Suppose let's say here I am having a different employee ID, different employee ID, and a name. If you see here, the names are same. The names may be same, right? No, same names. In a class, we persons having a same names. So since the employee ID is different, can we remove these persons? No, we should not remove these persons. Remove because even though the names are same, the employee IDs are different. We can consider those two persons are different persons. Correct. If suppose here also we are saying, then in In that case, we can remove those values. Agree? Okay, so this is clear. This is how we remove the duplicates. Now let us work with removing, replace with 0 or replace with NA. Half an hour. Okay. Now see here, guys. Now here we are having a country column, correct? Country column we are having. So here we are having some blank values, correct? And then here we are having some blank value, correct? Now if you need to remove these blanks, what you can do, just select on that particular column, click on Control G, and then click on blanks. Click on this go to, so that all the blanks will be selected. So what I am trying to do, I am just trying to select this data set, Control G, clicking on blank, go to. Now what happens, see, only the blanks where they are present has been selected. Now I am just right clicking it, clicking on delete, clicking on entire row, so that wherever the blanks are present, the entire row will be deleted. See, the entire row has been deleted. Before it was like this, and then after I right click, go to delete, clicked on entire row, so wherever the blanks are present, the entire row has been deleted. Now we have understood whether there are blanks or duplicates. We have removed the duplicates, and then whenever wherever we are having the blanks, we have removed the blanks. Either we can remove the blanks or we can replace it with the certain values. Okay. Suppose let's say here we are having a column called country. Here we are having some blank values, right? So either you can remove these values, or if you want, as because you know other values are being present, if you don't want this value to be removed, then in that case you can select this row, Control H, which goes to replace. Find what? We do not want to find anything, we want to find wherever the value is blank. So I am just keeping it as it is, and then I am replacing it with NA. NA means not defined. Why I am replacing it with NA? Because as this particular column is a text oriented column, that means string oriented column, as it does not contain any numerical values, I am replacing it with NA. So you click on this replace all. See, it has been replaced, correct? So now again, if you see, here we are having a age column. Again, go to Control H. Here you need to replace it with 0, because this column is a numerical related column. You need to replace it with numerical values only. Replace all. Okay, completed. So this is the different ways, guys, where you can either remove the duplicates, or either you can remove the blank values. Wherever there are blanks, you can remove the rows, or if there are blanks, you can replace it with certain values based on the type of data type column it contains. Whether it is a text column, then you need to replace it with not defined. Okay, or if it is a numerical column, you need to replace it with zeros. Understand? Okay, clear. Now guys, let us move on to very important topic that you need to understand and focus. Okay, that is, so let me open this data set. Okay, now we are talking about pivot tables. Pivot tables. Okay, very important topics which will be used to understand the business questions, and if you have to answer it back, then you need to understand about pivot tables. So let us understand clearly. Okay, so now see, first let us talk about pivot tables first. So guys, pivot tables are nothing but where we can create some calculations based on aggregations of data. So what is the aggregation of data? How can we create those calculations simply by drag and drop? Okay, so let us all together see. Okay guys, now if you need to create a pivot table, simply you need to go to insert, go to this pivot table. Okay, click on this, and here it is, if you see the table employees, the range is already being selected. By default, sometimes it will select the range. If not, you need to select the range of the table. Clear? And then either you want to create a pivot table in the new worksheet or in the existing worksheet. So we always go for the new worksheet so that we can create it from the scratch. Right? Otherwise, if you create the pivot table in the same worksheet, so it will be jumbled. It will be clumsy. Correct? So I am clicking on OK. Now see, a new sheet has been opened. where a pivot table one is trying, you can create a pivot table. If you have to understand a pivot table, you need to understand about the components that is providing for the pivot table, correct? Here if you see, whatever the values that are associated, right? Employee ID, full name, job title, department, business unit, gender, ethnicity, age, all these columns are being coming up here. That means Excel is finding out all those columns and then giving you in the field list. So that what happens when I am just dragging this to the rows, see all the values that are associated with the job title are being coming up. Correct? Very useful, right? So now see clearly. Guys, okay, am I audible now? Okay, cool. Now see guys, now when I'm representing the fields, right? When I am representing the fields on the rows, they are being provided as values from top to bottom. When I am representing the column, they are being represented in the form of left to right, which is columns, correct? So then we have something called filters, where we can put a filters, create a filters column, and then we have something called values. So when there are some aggregation functions to be used, we use it in the values. What are the aggregation functions? Some of them are some average, count, max, min, all those things we have already discussed, correct? So let us see some examples and then let us see how can we implement it in a pivot table. Okay. Now see, consider an employee table. So find the sum of annual salary based on department. Based on department, that means for every department, you need to find out the sum of annual salary. Understand? So how do you do? Simply, very, very simple. Where is the department? Department, just drag it to the rows because you need to get all those values in the rows, correct? So based on the department, you need to find out the sum of annual salary. So if you see, after I have dragged the annual salary into the values, by default it is taking the value sum. If you have to change it to the average or something, then you need to go to the value field settings and then you can change it here. Whether you need to go for max or some count, all those things you can change it here. But since as the question is to find out the sum of annual salary, I am clicking on OK. Now what happens? See, for department accounting, I am able to see the sum of annual salary. For the department engineering also, I am able to see the sum of annual salary. And for all the departments, I am able to see the sum of annual salary that we are providing to each department. Clear? Okay. Now suppose let's say for each department, if you have to find out the max of annual salary. Ante in each department, who is the salary, what is the annual salary that he is getting? If you need to understand that, then what you need to do? Again, bring out this annual salary here. Bring out this annual salary here and then the value field settings, change it to max and then click on OK. Now if you see, from this annual salary, The max salary that a person is getting from the department accounting is 258426. Understand this? So this is how we can create a pivot table simply by just dragging and dropping, answering out to the business scenarios. Understand? Okay. So now see here, find the count of employees based on year and department. That means based on year and department, you need to find out the count of employees. So how can you do? Okay, so what I will do, I will just copy this and then paste it here for a new pivot table. Okay, I am removing these fields. So what is the question? So based on the year and department, I want to find out the count of employees. Correct? So how do I find out year and department? So first let me bring out the year. So if you see here guys, here we are getting the higher rate, but what we need to get? We need to get the year. So we are not getting that, right? Now what I need to do? Now what I need to do guys, tell me. Now here I need to go to the data and then create a year column. Correct? So let us create month also for our use case and then create a day also. Now what happens equal to year of a higher date, enter. See, now we are getting all the years equal to month of higher date, enter, equal to day of higher date, enter. Now we have got all the data, correct? Now let us go into the sheet 1 and then when you just click on this table, we have something called refresh. Refresh data so that the new columns are added here, correct? Now let me drag this year to the columns and then what is the question? Department. So let me put the department into the rows. Now what happens? See, based on the department, now we are able to find out for the each year. Correct. Now what I need to find out? Sum of count of employees, right? Count of employees. So how do you find the count of employees? Suppose let's say if I put this employee ID in this particular thing, count of employees. Now see here, based on the department accounting, for year 1990, 1992, 1993, there is no employee for the department. And then they started 1991, 1995, 1996, there is one employee. And then again he has exited from the company, correct? And then a new employee has been joined till 2001. And then again a new employee joined, again a new employee joined. And then two employee has been exited. And then three employees has come into. So all those things you are trying to analyze and then provide it to the business based on the case of pivot tables only. With the case of rows and columns concept, we were able to provide the values, correct? So this is what the use case of pivot tables is. Okay, and then let's see. Find the drill down of data of job titles under country and city. That means, let me remove this. Remove. Now what is the ask? Based on the country and city, you want the data to be drilled down to job titles. That means first country. Where is the country? Correct, country. So I'm just bringing it to country, correct? And then based on the country, I want to drill it down to cities. Now if you see, wherever the cities are present under the United States has been drilled down, and based on the China, those states has been drilled down, and based on Brazil, those cities has been drilled down, correct? And then based on all these values, what you need to find out? Job titles based on each city. Now go to the job title and then just put it here. Now see, these are all the job titles that are present inside Chicago, Phoenix, Miami, Austin, Columbus, and then in China, there is the state called Qingdong, and then there are the different jobs that are available. And then in Shanghai, these are the different jobs that are available. And in the Beijing, these are the different jobs that are available. So that you will be able to understand in each city what are the jobs that are being provided. Correct. Okay. So are you getting this point, guys? Everybody? Okay. Yes. Cool. Cool, guys. Okay. So now we understood this, right? So now we understood this, correct? So this is what the use case of pivot tables, guys. Pivot tables. So why we are creating pivot tables? To show them the data. Correct. Now one more use case is here for this department accounting, this is the sum of annual salary. Correct. Now, but if you want to see the data of this one, you can just double click on this so that the data will be provided. Double click here. Okay. So what happens is for that particular department, what is the department here? What is the department? Accounting. So for the accounting, if you see only it is filtered on the basis of accounting. So all the data is being shown up. So you can analyze what is the data we are having it in individual data. Suppose let's say if you want to find out for the finance, just double click on the data, finance data will be coming up. So this is the way you can filter the data also and see what is the data that is being present inside the data also. Understand? Okay. So now you understand this, you understood this, right? So why we are doing all these things, guys? To make sure we are just providing a dashboard to the user to make sure that he can do the filtering on his own. Correct? To make sure dashboards. Correct. To create a dashboard, we just basically understand about the pivot tables. This is basic step creating dashboard. Okay, we have understood about pivot tables. Now you need to understand about reports and dashboards. What is the report and what is the dashboard? Anybody has any
Report is
idea
a
on what is
report is a
report and what
single
is dashboard?
report is a single page.
Sorry?
Dashboard is a report is a single page.
Dashboard is a single page. Okay,
So dashboard is a combination of all things.
correct.
One or more
Of
pages is called a
report.
report.
Okay, a dashboard of reports where report is a combination of, correct. Report is nothing but a chart or a bar chart or whatever the graphical way that you want to
Yes, sir.
define the data to be, that is called a report.
Report.
A report of
Dashboard.
a particular data set are based on a condition, creating some calculations. But the dashboard is a combination of all the
Everything.
reports based on that particular data set.
Charts, graphs.
Okay. So
history.
now what we will first try to see the data set and then try to create a pivot tables, create a reports, and then group it together to form a dashboard. So our Excel will be completed. Clear? Okay. So now what I will do, I will just go to the data set. So see the data set. There is a data set. Have a salesperson's date, amount, boxes, category. We have correct. Now, based on the data sets, if you have to create a dashboard or report, first you need to understand the insights that you need to get from this data set. You data set, he will not be able to understand anything. He will not be able to decide something based on the data. Why he is getting our as a data developers or data analyst, because as a data analyst we need to provide the user some insight of the data. That is the reason why they acquire us. Correct? Okay. So let us understand that. Okay. Different columns. So by this you are not understanding anything, right? So now what I have done, I have written some insights. So see here. So out of this data set, now I have created something. See, find the sum of amount. That means out of this, I have created an insight sum of amount so that I am trying to give the user what is the sum of amount from this data set, and then I am trying to provide what are the count of products that are available in the data set, and then I am trying to give to the user count of salespersons, how many salespersons are there, what are the count of products that we are selling to the, and then what is the sum of amount that we have gained, right? And then I am trying to tell to the user what is the average cost per box. Out of this data set, I have written all these things manually, so that you can understand all these things when you provide it to the user. There is no need of looking at the data. Agree? So see, find the count of products and sum of amount based on category. Top product based on count of boxes. Top category based on count of boxes. So when you are providing the top product, so this is the top product. This is the top category that is being sold. Right? This is the sum of annual salary. This is the count of products that we are selling. These are the count of uh, salespersons. This is the average cost per box. If you are providing all these insights to the user, then the user, do the user need to look at the data? No, right? The user no need of looking at the data. Agree? Okay. So let us implement these things first using a pivot table, and then let us try converting into a report, and then we will combine all the reports to form a dashboard. Right? Okay. So let us do that. So how do we do? Here we have a data set. To convert into a table, we go to insert, and then we click on pivot table, and then here you need to select the range. How do you select the range? Control shift right arrow and then down arrow. So all those things are selected. Now I am going to the existing worksheet. Agree? Sorry. Yeah. I will keep. Okay. So this is the range, and then this is the existing worksheet. Now if I want to place it into the new worksheet, I am clicking on the new worksheet, and then I am clicking on OK. Now what happened? All those columns has come here. Agree? Agree, guys? Now what is the first question? Sum of
Sum
amount.
of
If you need to find out the sum of amount, what you need to do? Just directly place it into the values, so that sum of amount has been created. After it has been created, we have something called options here, right? Where you can provide the name to this particular table, pivot table. What is that? Sum of amount. Enter. So this has been created. Now I am just copying this table and then pasting it here to create some other table. Now I am removing this. And what is the next one we need? We are trying to count of products. Count of products is, you just drag this down here, count of products. Here if you see, guys, here the value we are getting is 1800. But do you think the actual count is 1800? No, right? The actual count will not be 1800. If you see, go to the products, the maximum we are having is how many? Only some around 20, bunch of 20. But here we are getting 1800 because here it is checking the count, how many rows it has been present in that particular product. So how do you find that? In this case, right click, summarize values by, click on this more options. కొన్ని ఫంక్షనాలిటీస్ లేవు సార్ ఇందులో, కొన్ని ఫంక్షనాలిటీస్ లేవు. Okay, so here we are not having this functionality, so let me tell you with some other format. Okay, so let me copy it here. Now what I will try to do, guys, because we need to get only the products, what I will do, product I will just drag it to the rows. I'm just removing this field. Now how many rows we are having here? How many rows we are having? We are having around 22. 22 we are having, correct? So here I am, what I am doing, I am trying to create count of products, right? Count of products. So now what are you trying to do here? Equal to count count of these values. Agree? Here we are getting the value as 0. Why it is? Tell me. Okay, guys. Now, why are we getting this as 0? Tell me, anybody? Because as these values are text, it is not able to find out these values. Agree? So here I am providing it as text. Enter. So still we are getting the error, right? Why it is? See, now we are getting the 22 because here I have provided star. That means it is not only integer, whatever the value it may contain, those count you should get. So that is the reason why we have got the value as 22. So this is the count of products. Understand? So we have completed what is the sum of amount and what are the count of products. And then what is this count of salesperson? So similarly, you can find out the count of salesperson. So I'm not telling you that. Okay. And then we have something called average cost per box. So how do you find that? Average cost per box. Sum of amount we have. And then when you find out the sum of boxes, right? Count of boxes. Suppose let's say. So how do you do? Tell me. How do you do? So let me just copy this, paste it here. Now, instead of products, now what you need to find out? Boxes. Boxes. Just removing this field. Now what is being happened? These are the count of boxes present. Then a count of boxes present. Now what is the, you need to find out average cost per box. Average cost per box. Now what you can do? Tell me. Equal to average of, sorry, 1 minute. Equal to this sum of amount, correct, by, okay, it is coming as pivot table. Equal to average by this value. This is the average cost per box. And in the home tab, let us reduce this to 2 digits. So this is the average cost of a box, correct? And then what else we have? Find the amount based on day. Agree? Based on day. So let me copy this. So let me paste it here. So based on day, as we have already calculated based on day, where it is present? It's not present, is it? Okay. Year, month and day. So equal to year of date, enter. So equal to month of date, enter. So equal to day of date, enter. Right? Now we got this data. Now let us go into the our sheet 2, and then here we need to go to options and refresh data so that those columns will be added. Refresh all. Is it not adding added? Why it is not being added, guys? Okay, let's see what is the range. Okay, here it is selected only this. So let me select till J, right? So, okay. So now they are being coming up. Okay. Now based on day, I'm removing this product. I'm removing this. Based on day, what you need to find out? You need to find out the sum of amount. This is the data we are getting. Now, if you need to convert this into a report, that means if you need to convert in, what you can do is select this, go to insert, go to the chart. Suppose let's say if you want to convert into a column chart, let's say column chart, select this. Okay. Now it has been come up. See, now it has been come up. Now if you want to change it into some area chart, let's say it will be best. See, it has come. It has. Understand this? So that what happens with the help of a pivot table, we were able to find out on days what is the individual sum of amount. Okay. And then I introduced a concept of, guys, I introduced a concept of slicers. Slicers. This is a slicer. Suppose let's say if I select day, if I select day 1, so what happened? A slicer has been created, which is used to filter the data. Suppose what happens when I click on 1, what happens is only based on the day 1, the sum of amount will only based on the day 2, the sum of amount. Day 3, day 4, day 5. Understand? The data will be filtered. That is so. Okay. Now I am removing this filter. Okay. Now it has been created. Now what is the next one? What is the next one? Top product based on count of boxes. Correct? So how do you find out the top products? So Control A, Control C, just moving it here, going to this. Now top product. For that, first I need to find out the product here. Based on product, sum of amount, based on product, count of boxes. So this we need to remove. Where is boxes? We need to bring it here. Correct? So this is the data we are having currently. Now guys, here we have something called rank. Okay, here we have something called rank. So how do you find out the top product? Suppose let's say if there are students who are studying in a college, if every student will write the exam and after writing the exam, only one person will get the rank 1. So how that person, you will understand that that is the person who got the rank 1 based on the marks, based on the marks. Whomever got the highest marks, those will be awarded rank 1. Correct? So similarly, wherever this product is having the highest sum of boxes, that will be considered as the top product. So here we have a function called rank. Rank of this particular 500201 is being compared with the total, and then we will be providing the rank. And then similarly, the rank will be provided to all the rows, and based on this, we find out the top product. So how do you find out? Equal to VLOOKUP of 1 table array is this comma product. Antena? Comma 0. Enter. So this is the top product. Understand? So simply we have found out with the help of pivot table. Understand, guys? And then similarly, you can find out the top category. So I'm not telling you this top category. Okay. So I will tell you this very last one, very important one, very interesting one also. Top 10 products based on amount. Top 10 products based on amount. So how do you find out? Tell me. Top 10 products based on amount.
See,
Products based on amount. Top 10 products based on amount. So we have got this, right? So top 10. So out of this, so we need to find it only the top 10. So here guys, suppose let's say what I am trying to do here. Now here I am just creating only a row, this one, okay. Only some 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am just trying to create a mini table like this, all borders. So here I want to provide the value name as, right, product, and then sum of amount. Okay. But before that, let me check one thing. Okay. Developer view. Yeah. Okay, guys, this is not present, so I cannot tell you currently. Okay, so now how can you find out the top 10 products? Tell me. How can you find out the top 10 products
based on the sum of the amounts.
based on sum of the amount? Based on sum of amount, we can find out the top 10 products. But here, what I am trying to do now, here I am trying to provide the values till 10, and then here equal to VLOOKUP of this particular value to be checked into some location, right? But for that, we need to create a rank here, correct? We need to provide a rank equal to rank of this particular value being compared with the whole, enter. So this is the rank it got, and then similarly it has been applied to all the rows. Now here equal to VLOOKUP of value, this is the value, comma, table array is this, comma, product, comma, 0. So if you want to get the top 10 products, you can just do this. So it has been come. Now it is giving error. Why is this? Oh, okay. Now here we need to log this cell. We need to log this data set. Function F4, enter. Now all the values will be presented correctly. So this is the top products, guys. This is the top 10 products. So out of this data set, you can create some slides. Okay, and then place all the reports into a dashboard so that the user will be able to easily accumulate what is being happened on the data set. Understand? Now what has been done? So let us create some mini dashboard. Okay. Okay. So just I'm just creating a very mini dashboard. Okay. Just creating here. Okay. So and then I am just providing a border. And then here, what is the first thing? Sum of amount. And then count of products. Then count of, sorry, average cost per box. average cost per box, and then what we understood, top product and top category we haven't discussed, so top category, top product is fine. Okay, so now these are all the things that are available, correct? Now let's provide some color. You can just provide some color what you want. Okay, so I'm not doing that currently. So this is, you can just create boxes something like this, and then based on your interest, right, how you want to create the dashboard, you can just create like this. And then now here guys, equal to sum of amount equal to, what is the value? It refers to this one, enter. So this value is coming up here guys. So count of products. Okay, sum of amount, and next is count of products equal to this one, count of products, enter. We are getting it. And then average cost per box. How do you find out average cost per box? This is the average cost per box. And then top product equal to, go here, top product is this. Understand? Now what has happened? Okay, now what we have created? We have created day wise sales. Agree? We have created day wise sales. Now what I am doing, what I'm trying to do, day wise amount, day wise amount. For this particular one, I am trying to create a all borders. So day wise amount. So now what I will do, in the sheet 2, whatever has been captured, I will just copy and paste it here. Paste it here. Okay. Now, as this has to be, if you want this particular thing to be duplicated, then no fill. Okay, so that it looks fit to the dashboard. Okay, it looks fit to the dashboard. So, and if you want these values to be removed, this particular values to be removed, total day, so if you want these values to be removed, you can remove, otherwise you can keep it. Okay, now day wise amount we have created, and then what we discussed, and then what else we created guys? We created top 10 products, correct? So what is the sum of amount? If you want to find out, you can just drag this. Okay, drag it down. So here we are getting an error because why? Because here it should be locked. It should be log the value. So enter. So this one should be applied to all the cells and also to the next. Here we change it to 3 so that you get the value. So that you provide the value here. Now first is this product and this is sum of amount. Correct? Now if you want to create a chart, what you can do, you can just select this data set. Okay, select this data set, go to insert, go to chart, and then if you want to create a bar chart, you can just use this. And then if you want any chart tools, that means if you want to change the format, how it has to be, you can change it accordingly, right? And then copy, paste. That means what you are trying to do, you are trying to bring up all those things into a format where the user can see. Understand? You are bringing all those things into a format where the user can see. Correct. Now we have created these reports, right? We have created these reports. Now what I am trying to do out of these reports, okay, out of these reports, now I am creating a slicer here. I am creating a slicer that is on year and month and day and category and country, let's say. Okay, so I am creating all these filters. I am creating all these filters. Now what happens? What do you think? Okay, so first let me create only one. Okay, so what I am trying to do, again going here, creating an slicer, I am creating a filter on year. Okay, there is only 1 year, that is 2023. Okay, so I am removing this. As we are having only 1 year, I am removing this. So going to options, slicer, click on month, let's say. So we are getting the months here. Now when I select the month, based on the month, the top product needs to be changed. See, is it getting changed? So based on the month, the second month, the top product is getting changed. Now what I am trying to do, I am trying to report here something called report connections. We can go here and then select what are the pivot tables that we selected. We can select that and then click on OK. Now what happens? This data is also getting changed. This day weight sales based on month, see, getting changed, and also this also gets changed, see, changed. So I will just copy this and paste it here. I put a filter here. I put a filter of month here. Now I just put a filter on this 3. Okay, like this. Okay, delete this one. Upload. Okay, guys, understood, right? Okay. So I'm just figuring out where this is present. 1 minute. Okay. Now just let me create this and then go to drawing tools. You should get this. You should get this one, man. Why we are not getting this? Options, insert slicer on month. Okay. So control X and control V. Here, update whenever it's not coming up. Okay, it's not coming because of it is not an Excel. Okay, there is some issue. So let me figure it out for a minute. This mouse like the sheet 3. Okay. Hmm. Okay, guys. Now if you see, now I am just placing this laser here. Now when I am clicking on the month one, what is being happened? When I am clicking on the month one, the sum of amount is getting changed. This one is getting changed. See, all those things are being getting changed. Agree? But if you see the sum of amount is not being changed, correct? Why is it so? Go to the report connections. Here we are seeing only 3 tables. Correct. So let's go into the sheet 2. This sum of amount. Go to the sum of amount options. Sum of right. So now it has to be shown to the month. Let's go. Right click. Report connections. It's not showing up. Why is this so? There is some bug, guys. There is some bug. Okay, see. Now when I'm clicking on 3, the top product is being changed, right? So the other things, average cost per box, also all those things also should be changed. But due to some bug, I think it's not working. Okay. So the sum of amount, see, the sum of amount is being changed, and then this is also being changed. So what the user can understand, user can use this report as a dashboard where he can click on some different months and then find out. So what is the sum of sales that is being applied to this? Suppose let's say if he wants to see on month 7, that is on month July, he wants to see what is the sum of amount on milk bars, on what are the products that are available, and then if you want to see on day wise what is the being sales has been made, whether it is being increased, whether it is being decreased. So all those patterns you can understand. Suppose if you want to filter down on different aspects again, then what you can do, can slicer. Suppose let's say based on country, if the sum of amount needs to be filtered out, right? Suppose let's say, see what happens when I'm clicking on Australia, sum of amount is being changed. So if this filter has to be applied to everything, then click on this and then click on all these things. Okay. Now if we need to move the slicer to sheet 3, okay. So it has come. Now I am putting it here in the country panel. Now I am clicking on country. The sum of amount is being changed, right? See, all these things are being changed. Average cost is being changed. Count of products also is not changing because it is same for all the countries. Understand? So this is how you can map the reports to the slicer and then use case to change the data. So based on this country, if on the month 3, On the month 3, if you want to find out the day wise amount and the sum of amount, you can do all those things also, guys. Okay, so this is how a basic dashboard looks like. Understand? So by now we have completed the concept of all the Excel topics on the basic level. Okay, not on the basic level, we have come to the advanced level also. Okay, if you understand all these things, you will be able to perform very well. Yeah, you need to try to practice, right? So any doubts you are facing, guys, or everyone is good? So guys, so if you want to join the Excel course, so full course, you can join accordingly, right? So I will just 1 minute. I will just provide some number. Great lecture. Thanks. Okay, guys. I think if anybody is interested to join the full course, please let me know. So I will be the tutor only for that particular course, so that we can accordingly. I will make you learn everything. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.